Why is it that most people don't pursue their dreams or don't do better than what they're doing if they're capable of doing it? I think that many of us don't go the next step because we don't know what to do yet. And I say that the reason that we don't even explore the possibility of what to do is because subconsciously we don't believe that it can happen for us, and we don't believe that we deserve it. How much time do you spend working on you? How much time do you spend every day working on your dream? In the last 90 days, how many books have you read? In the last year, what new skill or knowledge have you acquired? What kind of investment have you made in you? So I'm saying that as you begin to look at where you want to go, if you want to make it today, and things are changing so fast you have to literally run to stand still, I'm saying that you've got to make some conscious effort to begin to work to develop you. Here's something else. Most people are not living their dreams because of fear, ladies and gentlemen. I was in Columbus, Ohio yesterday speaking for a particular Ohio department. A young lady named Karen who greeted me, who organized the event. Very talented, very skillful. And she was talking about she wanted to become involved in the consulting business. I said, why aren't you doing it? I said, you have the abilities. I said, you're not here because they like you. You're here because you're doing the job. You're making things happen. And she came up with all kinds of ideas, but finally she said, I guess I can't see myself doing it. I guess I'm afraid. Fear, limited vision, and lack of self-esteem is what keep most people doing things they don't want to do. I flew from Columbus, Ohio to Denver, Colorado to a major communications company. And the person that picked me up at the airport told me about the fact that the company was planning on having a major downsizing. And they offered some of the employees there an early retirement, and some of them will earn as much as $300,000. And they said, this is the last time that you can take this offer. If you don't do it, when we have the downsizing, you might be among those who will lose their jobs, and all you will get is your severance pay. And only 50% of the people who were eligible to take the $300,000 took it. The others were afraid to take a chance on themselves. The others couldn't see themselves beyond that company. They couldn't see life after that company. The same reason that people stay in relationships where they're abused or they're unhappy or it's unfulfilling. They can't see themselves beyond that relationship. They can't see themselves enjoying life without that person. They think that this is all that they can do. The same reason that people get stuck at a certain level in life. They can't see things being better for them. And they think that this is it and this is all they deserve. This is all they've ever seen. It's been passed on to them. And they think that this is it for them. Oh, no. I was looking what Dr. Blanton, Smiley Blanton, who is a colleague of Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, what he said about fear. He said, fear is the most subtle and destructive of all human diseases. Ladies and gentlemen, fear kills dreams. Fear kills hope. Fear put people in the hospital. Fear can age you. Fear, ladies and gentlemen, can hold you back from doing something that you know within yourself that you're capable of doing, but it will paralyze you. And it seemed like you're in a hypnotic spell. And I ask you a question, what is the benefit? What's the benefit of allowing fear to hold you back? What's the benefit of giving up on yourself? Of not stepping out on life and taking life on? What is the benefit for you? What's the plus in that? It's one of the things I had to ask myself. So I didn't want to make any mistakes. I wanted everybody to like me. I wanted to be perfect the first time I did something. It's not going to happen. You're going to make some mistakes. You're going to hurt some folks' feelings. You're going to create some enemies whenever you decide that you want to begin to take life on. You've got to ask yourself, how long am I going to allow this to hold me back? I like what Zig Ziglar says. He said, fear is false evidence appearing real. That is an illusion that we create in our mind. It is a state of mind that can be changed. So let's look at how we can begin to take some steps to restructure that fear, to begin to expand our visions of ourselves, to begin to increase our self-esteem. Webster said that self-esteem means confidence and satisfaction in oneself. Look at your life right now. Whatever you've done up to this point in time, your life is working. Whatever you have produced, it came out of you as a result of the kind of person that you have become. It's a result of your choices. It's a result of your consciousness. Now you have to ask yourself, are you satisfied with what you have produced? Is this what you want? Would you like for things to be better than this? Do you believe that you deserve better than this? Or are you content? This is it. You don't have to do anything else. That you've already resigned yourself in life and say, well, I'm happy. I'm not starving like the people in Calcutta. Are you allowing yourself to get off the hook like that? Or do you believe somewhere in the back of your mind or in your heart that there's some other great work for you to do? There's something else that life has for you. And that's why you're here. How do we handle this fear factor? How do we increase our self-esteem? You have to begin to fortify yourself. How do we do that? I believe that you have to begin to consciously monitor your inner conversation and start talking to yourself. Start building yourself up. Sometimes the only good things you will hear about you are the things that you say to you. Young lady that was in the audience this afternoon said to me, I told myself yesterday for the first time, I'm proud of me. And she said, I felt good about that. So I'm saying learn to be your own booster. Start building yourself up. Start encouraging yourself. Start saying, I can do this. I can make this happen. When I started thinking about becoming a speaker, I said, yes, I can do this. I can make this happen. When I start trying to convince myself I can be a businessman after flopping and failing and losing thousands of dollars and feeling stupid and dumb and having people take advantage of me because of what I didn't know. I had to talk to myself because people were saying to me that I was dumb. And somewhere in the back of my mind, I was saying, you're right. Look at what I've done. I had to say, no, Les. Hey, come on, man. Get yourself together. You can handle this. You just haven't figured it out yet. It's all right. This is your training period. This is the tuition you have to pay for what you don't know. You can do this. Other people have done it. It doesn't take an Einstein. Get you some people that can teach you some stuff that you don't know. Get you some people that have done it successfully and learn from them. Take some seminars, workshops, read some books on how to manage a business. Change the way you see yourself and begin to tend to the personal details. Understand that nobody's going to take care of your business better than you. And when I start changing that kind of mindset of beating myself up because of my mistakes and start looking at the possibility of my doing better, of my making the adjustment that would enable me to do what I want to do successfully, things begin to change. And I'm saying stop beating up on yourself. You do it. I know you do it. I've done it. It's a natural inclination for us to put ourselves down. See, we are born negative, I think, in a negative consciousness because we live in a negative world. See, you don't have to teach children to lie. They'll lie automatically. Did you wet in your pants? No, I did not. Well, what is that? I don't know. You don't have to encourage kids to misbehave. They will do it by themselves. You don't have to encourage them to do the wrong thing. They will do it automatically. You have to correct their behavior. So I'm saying that we have to work through the challenges of life in learning how to begin to work to fortify ourselves. Begin to guard your mind against negative programming, like turn off the television. Don't watch the news. Don't watch it. I think that more people have a sense of hopelessness and anxiety about life. If you look at the news, you cannot feel good looking at the news. You'll be scared to death. You're scared to go to sleep. I mean, it turns your power down. You've got to be conscious of that. Don't pick up the newspaper and read it. No. Just try this. Just experiment with yourself. Now, if your job depends upon you knowing certain things, let somebody tell you just about those things. But start filtering the stuff you allow to come in your mind. You know that song you used to say, don't let nobody bring you no bad news. I tell my staff, look here, don't tell me any bad news while I'm on the road. Let me handle it tomorrow. I don't like anybody to tell me any bad news at night before I go to sleep. I can't do anything about it anyhow. Why let me go to sleep with that on my consciousness? No. No, and my staff, they know that. Say, let it wait till tomorrow. And I have a period of time. Tell me bad news between 10 o'clock and 12 noon. After I prayed and meditated and read my books, I'm fortified, I'm ready to handle it. I deal with it, and then I'm out of there, and I'm going on to something else. So you've got to guard the kinds of things that you put in your mind. See, if you don't program your mind will be programmed, because human beings are goal-oriented. That's why we die of broken hearts early. That's why we're running through life to early grades. We're going through life, ladies and gentlemen, and I think that Henry David Thoreau said that most men live in quiet desperation. Most of us go through life running scared. Larry DeAndre, who I think is going to be one of the greatest motivational speakers around today, told me a story, a true story of a friend of his, that every day when he came home from school, when he would get to a certain block in his neighborhood, there was a neighborhood dog that would chase him. And that dog would start after him barking. Boy, he would run, just running from that dog every day, every day. Finally, he just got tired of that dog chasing him every day. He said, this dog come around here today, I'm going to take a brick or something and bust him in the head. So he was walking home that day, minding his own business. Sure enough, same area, there was that dog there. And the dog started barking, he started running, he saw a brick, and he stopped and picked up the brick and turned around. And the dog got close to him, he realized the dog didn't have any teeth. He said he put the brick down and said, get on out my way. And ladies and gentlemen, all our lives, many of us go through life running from things that ain't got no teeth to do us any harm. Haven't you been afraid to do something, and then after you did it, you say, whoa, if I'd known it was this easy, I would have done it before. Haven't you ever had that experience? Raise your hand. Absolutely. So we created this in our minds, false evidence appearing real. We made it real in our minds. That's why Churchill said there's nothing to fear but fear itself. That's the destructive monster. So turn off things that can contribute to your fear. Turn a deaf ear to people that all they can do is talk about how negative things are, because they have bought into the consciousness of the world. Start attending workshops, seminars, listening to tapes on a daily basis to begin to recondition your mind, to retrain your thinking. Faith comes by what? Hearing and hearing and hearing. Listen to things that can empower you, that can enable you to create a new reality for yourself, in a new life for yourself. You might appear to be strange around most people. You know, most people think you're strange if you're happy today. People say, how you doing? I said, better than good. Whoa, what's wrong with him? Just go around smiling and watch people. Look at this. Is this a weird guy over here? Because most people don't smile. Watch them. Look at their faces in the morning. Here we go, another Monday morning. How you doing? Haven't had my coffee yet. Don't ask me. See, these people have not found their purpose in life. That's why they're grumpy. That's why they're miserable. That's why they're so negative. They're hurting, and they want to hurt other people. So start practicing using programs for your mind. Seminars, books, workshops. Keep a journal. Record your thoughts. What's happening with you? Every day when you get up, have a journal near you. I use a Jack Boland journal so that I can write down my ideas. I keep it by my bed so I can write down my thoughts. See, ladies and gentlemen, we get 3 to 4 thoughts a year that if we would act on those thoughts, they could change our life. Don't say, well, I'll remember that. No, write that thought down. I got a thought today I wrote down. A friend of mine is in the hospital. His morale is low. They're talking about amputating his foot. He's got to feel very bad. So I said, you know, not only am I going to see him, but I can't be there with him all the time. I said, I'm going to create a tape for him that he can listen to that will heighten his level of morale. We told him the other night, don't go to surgery. You are depressed. Your energy level is down. No, tell him not now. Don't do it now. In fact, most doctors who have any sense of awareness don't perform surgery on patients that are in a state of fear, that don't think they will make it. They wait till they're in a different state of mind. So I said, what about making tapes for people that are facing physical challenges? I said, that's a good idea. See, there are ideas that can come to you out of things that appear to be negative. I have a friend out of Chicago, just met him. He's 23 years old. And this guy, he went financially bankrupt 2 years ago, ruined his credit. Guess what he decided to do? He found a blessing in it. He wanted to restore his credit. It was very challenging, very difficult. And he realized that a lot of other people during these particular times have ruined their credit. So now he started a credit repair business. Last year he earned over $100,000 helping people to restore their credit. I met a young lady who attends this church, that she was at her father's funeral and she was putting flowers on her father's grave, and she looked around and saw the other grave sites. They did not look well groomed and they were not attended to on a regular basis. She started a grave site maintenance business. Out of that tragedy, something positive has come out of it. And now she's earning more money doing that than on her present job. What idea are you sitting on? Write your ideas down. And then, once you get that idea, take the leap. Hello? Take the leap. See, a lot of people get the ideas and just walk around with them. Have you ever had an idea and all of a sudden you looked around and somebody had that idea and gone with it? Take the leap. See, it's out here in the universe. If you don't take the plunge, I guarantee you, somebody else will. Take the plunge. Go into action. And ladies and gentlemen, you will be surprised at how things will come together. You'll be surprised. Now, you're going to have some difficult challenges. I can tell you that now. Be aware of that. Things are not going to work out exactly right. For a time, they will, sometimes. And that's when life is just playing a game with you. I want you to feel good and relax. And then after a while, say, okay, the honeymoon's over now. And then life will come over there and slap you side the head. Say, what you doing out here? Well, this is my dream life. Is that right? Come over here a minute. Oh, you went to the seminar, huh? Come here. I can tell you that. But ladies and gentlemen, go into action with your dream. And don't avoid where the fights are. Get in the midst of the fight. And get some hickeys on your head. Get knocked down so you can learn how to fight, so you can hold your position. See, most people don't get out in the arena of life because they don't want to fight. Most people don't get out there because they don't want to get knocked down. They don't want to be dropped to their knees. But see, you're going to be dropped whether you're on the field or whether or not you're sitting on the sidelines. You're going to be dropped. So at least get dropped for something. Don't get knocked down while you're sitting down. See, that's how most people are spectators in life. You don't want to be a spectator. You want to get out in the field where the action is, and you will be amazed. After the struggle, there will be a calm period, and things will begin to click for you. Come out here with what you got. You don't have enough money? Don't worry about it. You got the dream. You got the idea. You don't have enough resources? Don't worry about it. You need some help? Don't worry about it. You get out here in the arena, someone will look at you and become inspired and say, hey, can I help you? But if you're sitting up on the bleachers, nobody's going to ask you anything.
It's as if we're all a piece of carbon that can be a priceless diamond, but we all have the value going in, and all we have to do is cut and shape it. With what? An identity. What identity? Each human is born with 5 to 7 major talents. Do you know what your 5 to 7 are minimum? The ability to hold a scalpel steady is inborn. Tweezer dexterity is inborn. Finger dexterity is inborn. The ability to deal with words is inborn. Colors and shapes and spatial relations are inborn. They need to be brought out of the soil and watched and developed. What are yours? Sure, there are your hobbies, but you can earn money with them as well. And even if you don't, you want to spend more time doing what you love, your identity or your talent, strengths, and a positive label. Competence can make up for all 3. If you didn't have a winning family, if you've never felt worthy, and if you don't know what your identity is, you can still become a champion by competence. That's called self-efficacy. When you begin to do something and it gives you a feeling of control over the outcomes of little things, local competence creates global risk. In other words, when you do something locally that's successful, You want to take on more responsibility and risk. And therefore, self-trust is your ability to solve minor problems and then bigger ones. The key to self-esteem is the ability to take your value and pay it forward or pay it out, and to be able to accept it when it's paid to you. And many of you have known through the years that all of us who talk about it say that one of the biggest tip-offs on self-esteem is eye contact when you're talking and listening without looking down and away. A child who can raise his or her head up and look you in the eye, reach out his or her hand, look you in the eye, and give you their name. Hello, my name is, and mean it. Even liking the sound of their own name. When you make a telephone call, you always give your own name first as you're calling. Why? Value, available, to serve, to be remembered. When you're answering the phone, you give your name, even at home. Why? They may not know you're there. They may not know it's your home. So you tell them who you are. I know my kids have said, "We know, Dad, just checking." Because I give my name, Dennis Waitley. I remember writing my first book, The Psychology of Winning. It wasn't any good, so I left it in the drawer for 5 years. It wasn't the book wasn't any good, the author wasn't. There's a difference between what you do and who you are, and if you don't feel worthy as an author, you just can't get anything published. I remember sending, like all authors do, you remember Stephen King, you remember what happened with Carrie, you remember that he sent it out, 15 times, you remember how many times it was rejected, you remember when the baby got sick, you remember when they pulled the phone out, remember he was making $50 a week working in a laundry. How would you like to walk into a laundromat and find Stephen King? Hi, come on in. I'll tell you a story while we're going through spin. He could play an instrument. He played a musical instrument and he wrote, but his wife just got tired. The baby was sick. They had no phone. So she sent Carrie out one more time. So it became the best-selling book and the best-selling movie of that year, and ever since he's done it. It really takes this kind of persistence and accepting any value and paying it out. So when anyone says anything to you of any value, please learn the Olympic way of accepting a gold medal. The Olympic way is to put your shoulders back and say, "Thank you, I appreciate it." If you say, "Just lucky, I guess," they'll know it was. If they say, "Great golf shot," and you say, "Closed my eyes and swung," they'll say, "Right on, Duffer." If they bring you a present for your birthday, please don't say, "Oh, you shouldn't have, you spent too much." They'll think they did. And otherwise, you won't get a raise either, because you may not be worth it, your humble self. Humility is serving others with grace. Humiliation is where you're constantly knocking the product, believing that if you knock yourself, you'll be a steward. No, you won't. People always listen to the way you explain yourself, the way you talk about your problems, the way you communicate. It's a tip-off. Self-esteem is the ability to pay value forward and accept it graciously when paid to you. And a lot of it has to do with the way you talk. So you can accept it comfortably. You can praise and critique performance without feeling rejected. You can reinforce good behavior and boost it if it's a failure. Being clean and neat is a tip-off. People who hurt themselves don't like themselves. People who help themselves like themselves. Eye contact, communication, and positive self-talk. You've heard it 1,000 times, but in a minute I'll give you the Olympic way. I believe that winners believe in their dreams when that's all they have to hang on to. I believe that what gets in the way is fear, and fear is always of catastrophic danger. Fear is obviously of rejection. Fear is of failure and of change, the unfamiliar. The unknown, the unfamiliar, the rejection. The bottom one is where I've been stuck. Most speakers claim they're raised in a poor family. I was. My father was a penniless alcoholic, died of lung cancer and cirrhosis of the liver. He said, "These things will kill you," and they did. And he smoked because he saw the movie actors and actresses smoke. And during our days, the best seats in the theaters were all smoking. They were called the loggias, and they were all leather with ashtrays. And so the smokers would sit in the best seats in the house. They'd buy the cigarettes out in the lobby and be smoking. We could just barely see the screen, which is why we sat in front. So he drank and smoked himself to death. And as a result, I grew up with the fear of success, doubting myself and feeling guilty when I had success. If you've come from a family that does not have money or success, you might think that you're just a little reckless, believing that you're worth it. But overcome the fear of doubt and the fear of guilt. Guilt is when you get the biggest piece of cake at your own birthday. Guilt is when you do well and other people say, I got lucky. And they think you're selfish because you're successful, but you must be able to step out and forward and handle the guilt and doubt that other people may have. False evidence appearing real, all the speakers use that. Ignorance, what will happen? Prejudice, I can't forget what happened. And premonition, it will happen again. The mind is incredible. It'll happen again, I know it. I can't forget what happened. I'm not going to get married again because of that experience. And what will happen in the future? I've just written a book, Safari to the Soul, How to Overcome Fear in the Savage Paradise Called Life. I think life is a savage paradise. I think it's a paradise to people who know how to work with it, and it's a savage place for those who don't. And the most important thing to understand is that life is a jungle, and a jungle is neutral. Life is a backdrop, and you and I are the players. The question is, do you want to be an unfamiliar tourist in the jungle, or do you want to be a guide? If you're a guide, you understand. You understand that there's breadfruit, bananas, mangoes, papayas, and clean water and places to hide. If you're a tourist, there are black mambas, yellow mambas, scorpions, lions, tigers, and there's malaria and yellow fever. There's all the dangers if you're inexperienced. If you're experienced, you see the potential. If you're inexperienced, you see the danger. Knowledge, training, skills, and experience overcome fear. You get role models, coaches, and mentors. They help you learn the correct swing. And then you gain courage and confidence with knowledge and training. The best way to overcome fear is knowledge and action, and that's why you're here. You're here to eliminate the fear of the unknown, the fear of rejection, the fear of change, and the fear of success. Self-esteem, I'd like to give it to every child in the world, a deep down inside the skin feeling of your own worth, regardless of your age, your looks, your ethnicity, your gender, or your background. Given my parents and my background, I'm glad I'm me. I'd rather be me living at this time than any other time in history. I'm not the best looking in the group. I look my best in a group. Self-esteem is believing that you have enough potential to become a world-class person. And all you need to do is find somebody else who believes enough in you to help coach you through it and mentor you through it. Regardless of current performance, that's the problem, isn't it? But I'm not earning, I haven't done anything. How can I feel good if I haven't done it yet? Well, that's just it. It's potential, not performance. And you'll understand. If there were 4 legs to the chair, or 4 cornerstones, the 4 legs would certainly become affiliation and belonging. A gang is when you belong even if it's wrong, but it gives you power. If you don't belong at home, you belong to a gang. Everyone wants to belong to a winning team. One of the reasons that motherly love is the greatest, it's the affiliation between mother and child that creates the optimism of self-esteem. The father is very important because without a father, you tend to want to associate with the outside gang and break away. So belonging is a winning family or team. We all want an esprit de corps. We all want to hang around winners. Worthiness is very difficult to get, especially today, because we see athletes and celebrities who do these incredible things and we don't think we measure up. If you have children still, make sure you go into their room just before they go to sleep and create a straitjacket out of their sheets and blankets. Fold them over so they can't move. And they're lying there on their pillow and they can't move their head away from you. All animals out, cell phone off, computer shut down, video games not there, and you've got them. Hi, I've been watching you and you're about the most special human being I've ever met. I'm so glad to be your parent. I love you so much unconditionally. There's no conditions on my love. I love you so much. And having a feeling of worthiness, regardless of what you're doing, is the underpinning of unconditional love and built-in value. The most important opinion you'll ever have is the one you have of yourself. No one looks at a photo of you with such scrutiny. Just look at your own wedding pictures or look at any picture that's been taken of you and you'll look at yourself and say, ooh, don't you have another one? We tend to be so critical of ourselves. Every blemish instead of blessing is what we count. The word TIP is an acronym. Every speaker, you'll hear Brian's acronyms. Jim Rohn has acronyms. We're walking acronyms. Fear, false evidence appearing real. Luck, laboring under correct knowledge. LUCK. Posh, port out, starboard home, cruise ship. Posh accommodations, port side out, starboard home. The word TIP, to ensure performance. That's what it means. Wait a minute. If TIP is to ensure performance, why do I give it after the meal? Too late. Too late then. You're reinforcing something that we're giving 15 to 17%, even if it wasn't good service. They expect the tip. Two kinds of tips. Reinforce good behavior, tremendous feeling of recognition. But the best tips are given before anyone does anything because it raises the level of expectation in your children, your associates, and in you. Would you want a tip on a good stock? You bet you would. Well, why would you bet on them? They haven't done anything yet. But they have good management. What does that mean? It means they're going to perform. Yeah, but you want me to bet on them before they perform? Yeah, you invest in them and then it goes up. If you wait until after, it's too late. The people are already selling when you're buying. A tip is an expected level of achievement which you want to give to yourself and other people because only an expected level of success is motivational. And if you expect more from yourself and others, you will perform more to that expectation than anything else.